Hello, fourth graders. This is Mr. Headington with your week 15 health lesson. This week's lesson is our third of our unit on human growth and development and learning about body changes and keeping clean. First thing you would have done when you started this video was to click on my Bitmoji. So that was part one. You're doing that right now. When we're done with the video, please watch part two, which is my questions or your questions that I've answered from the anonymous question box. Had a few from this week. Keep it up. I'd like to see more from that. It makes it really interesting around here. And then part three this week, we'll be watching this video over to the right on personal hygiene. It's from Brain Pop. You do not need a password or username for this week's one. So watch that. It'll be kind of review over what I tell you later. And then finally, your last step will be your seesaw assignment, which I'll explain at the end of this video. Now, get my slides to go. Don't want that. Don't want that. Last week, I started explaining to you about physical changes that happen to both boys and girls. And so my list here is something you already know about because you saw it from last week, but I'm just going to review it. For all of you going through puberty, these will be things that are common for all kids during the teenage years. So all of you will have some sort of growth spurt. Maybe you'll have even more than one. Growth spurt just means a little bit faster change in your height, or maybe in your weight, or it might be shoe size or your hands or whatever that's related to growth hormones. And if you watch the movie about the world's tallest man ever, it explained a little bit about growth hormones in there. Second thing is on acne. A few of you will be lucky enough that you do not have too much trouble with acne. I was a kid who did have trouble with acne. So pimples and zits, and basically just keeping your face clean. There's oils in your skin, which we'll explain a little bit more about in a couple of the parts that I explained today about hygiene that we need to take care of. Body hair, we'll start noticing hair on certain parts of your body, or you will, that especially underarms, a little bit around the private parts, and they don't come in like in one day. It takes gradual, long months, years for that to grow in. Along with that is body odor, which I'm hoping if you're noticing it on yourself, that means other people are noticing it about you too, and need to do the things to take care of keeping clean and not smelling bad. So that will be something I'll talk about later with bathing and showering more often and using deodorant. Voice changes can happen for both boys and girls, but I'll talk about a little bit more with the boys list here in a minute. And then finally, mood swings, which isn't a physical change. It is an emotional change that lots of kids go through while they're going through puberty. And it can happen other times in life as well. Now, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about what's specific for your gender. So if you were born a boy, or if you're born a girl, there might be things on all of these things that I share that could be happening to anyone, but mostly happens to boys. So if you remember back to our first week, I talked about two different types of hormones that our bodies make. One is testosterone, and that is something that boys' bodies make more of and results in them getting these changes. So facial hair. Why do men have beard and mustaches? Not everybody has it, but some are more noticeable than others. That has to do with testosterone. Body hair. Sometimes men will have a little bit more body hair than women do overall. Generally, testosterone creates boys to be a little bit taller and a bit more muscular than girls. Doesn't mean that boys are going to have giant bodybuilder muscles. You got to work at that, whether you're a boy or a girl, or man or woman. Deeper voice, and I put on here some men may get what's called an Adam's apple. It's a bump on the neck that is basically just the vocal cords. And I explained last week about how vocal cords, when they get longer and thicker, that they're creating deeper sound, just like any string instrument, whether it be for orchestra, if you do violin, viola, cello, bass. Realize that I think it's the viola that's the smallest, very high notes, and a bass, which is very large, would have a lot lower notes. And if you look at a piano, your keys on the piano to the right are the high notes, and the keys on the piano to the left are the low notes. And if you opened up your piano, which I don't know if you do or not, but you'll notice those chords being longer. So similar things happen with people's voices. And then finally, at the bottom, I forgot what was on my list there, a little bit more about broader shoulders. Sometimes the shape of the body is slightly different from boys to girls and men to women. Then over here on this side, for girls and women, we all have these hormones, but one of the main ones for girls changes is going to be estrogen, and another one called progesterone. And it results in a few changes for them that aren't necessarily more for the boys. So they may have a growth spurt sooner. It's like, why in 4th and 5th grade are girls a little bit taller than boys? It's because their hormones are causing them to have a little bit sooner growth spurt than for boys. They will have less body hair overall and less facial hair, but they still might have some. So we all have those. It's just because of the hormone differences, it might be a little more noticeable on some people than others. And don't be inappropriate on these last two as I explain them. A definite change for girls as their breasts begin to grow. Actually, boys and girls have the same parts on their body to be able to have those. It's just because of the hormone differences for girls versus boys that begins to happen for them. And humans are mammals. Mammals, if you know anything about their kind of 4 characteristics about mammals, they're warm-blooded. They have hair covering their body. They give birth to a baby, and they have the glands, the breasts, to provide milk for that child or baby. Which is, I think, other animals that are mammals, the moms provide the milk for the babies. So same thing's true with humans. And last one on my list over here for girls is kind of shape of the body. And this one, just like we talked about, boys have a little bit broader shoulders. Girls tend to have a little bit wider hips. And it's because of the pelvis. The pelvis bone is the part that makes up your waist. So where your hips, where your legs attached to your body, for men, that tends to be more of a straight line along their body. And for girls, their hips widen a little bit wider, creating a little bit different shape while their waist stays narrow. And that has to do with childbirth. So as women get older and become able to have children, they need to be able to give birth to that baby. Now, there's a few other changes that will happen to boys and for girls. I'm not going to cover it this year in 4th grade. That would be something that definitely would want to talk with your parents about. Maybe they've already talked to you about it at home, or your doctor might be talking about it as well. So if you need more help with the body changes, please use the anonymous question box or seek out those trusted adults in your life. Moving on. Well, I guess I can point out that most of what I'm going to be talking about next has to do with body odor and acne and so on. So we are going to move on to stuff about hygiene. So what is good hygiene? Hygiene is your grooming, like taking care of your body, the outside of your body. Some things you've already been doing a lot of, probably, like brushing your teeth and combing your hair and taking a bath or shower and so on. So why during the time that you go through puberty do you have to start worrying about it a little bit more? Well, your underarms start making a new kind of sweat gland, or there's glands in there that make a different kind of sweat than normal. And this type of sweat mixes with bacteria and kind of smells. So if you want to know more about it, look at the video here from the TED Ed for kids, explain that. If you haven't already, you might want to consider getting a deodorant or antiperspirant. I know the recommendation for most kids is to start with just deodorant. A lot of these will have deodorant and antiperspirant chemicals in them. And if you have sensitive skin, you might find that some brands are causing a little rash under your underarms or make it feel uncomfortable. Just stop using that one and try a different brand. So you might need to experiment a little bit with finding out which ones help you best. Next, showers, showering and bathing. So keeping your head clean, body clean, and so on. Shampoo and conditioner for your hair. Soap and a body wash for your body. Washcloth or a scrubby for, kind of helping. And it's not just eliminating dirt from the body. It's also opening those pores, keeping the hair clean. And some of this will help with controlling some of the acne issues and so on. Definitely is going to help with the sweaty feet, sweaty underarms. Those smelly parts of your body need to be taken care of. So wash your underarms and private parts, your feet and your face, along with everything else. When you get done with your shower, brush and comb your hair, keep the tangles out. I have fairly short hair. It's really easy for mine to be taken care of. If you have longer hair, that might be something that you have to do a little bit more time with to make sure it's not only clean, but also dry and neat so that you don't have issues later. And definitely something we've all talked about with you guys for a long time is brushing your teeth and flossing too. For those that may start needing to shave, so like we talked about earlier, some men have facial hair and some women might have a little bit too, or some people will shave their legs or other body parts like underarms and so on. And all I'm going to say about shaving is at this point, probably not necessary for a 10-year-old, but when you do, make sure you use your own razor. Do not share with someone else in your home. make sure it's start with a new razor, and they do dull after a while. And if you notice that it's starting to cause nicks, which would be little cuts on your skin, I occasionally get one on my face if I'm going too quick when I'm shaving. It's time to get rid of that razor and get a new one. Do not shave your skin dry, meaning don't just rub the razor on your face. You need to have something to make it smoother on your skin, like shaving cream, which is what men might put on their face or women might use on their legs and so on, or soap or some sort of lotion or something to protect your skin, and be extra careful. Finally, today, I want you to think about the more than just taking care of your body to keeping clean. It's also taking care of your other things like your clothes. Wash your clothes, wash your bed and sheets and pillows. Shoes need some time to dry out from being sweaty. So if you wear the same shoes day after day after day, they do get pretty smelly. And change your socks and underwear daily, which means every day. And for sometimes, I'm a gym teacher. I get sweaty feet. I might have to change my socks 2 or 3 times a day to keep them from getting smelly. And finally, if you didn't see this on the first page, it is the personal hygiene video from Brain Pop. Last today is your assignment for Seesaw. I'd like you to go into your Seesaw response, which I have given out most of the weeks here with that little note thing that's attached to the thing. I'm going to list body parts on that sheet. Your job is to explain in just a couple of words, or like the things you need to use to keep that body part clean. So I gave the example of teeth. What do you need for that? You need to be brushing and flossing your teeth. So you need a toothbrush, a toothpaste, dental floss, maybe a mouthwash. Those kind of things would be good for that. So for teeth, that's what I would write on my thing. So you tell me what other things you need to do to take care of these things for your body, and then also your clothes. And don't forget about your bedding, like your bed sheets and all that. That can be something that causes some issues as well. So hopefully you learned some things this week. Hopefully some of these things are stuff you're talking about at home already. And hygiene is just a habit. You got to get into good habits to remember to do it. The more you do to take care of your body, probably the better off you're going to be in the long run. So everyone will enjoy being around you if you have good hygiene. Have a wonderful week.